first grade friends, Mrs. Croft here. I'm excited to be reading chapter 5 with you today. Please read along with me. And I hope you all have remembered to find your Junie B books to answer all the questions in every day after we read another chapter. There's a few questions for each chapter. But here we go, chapter 5. Dear First Grade Journal, Mr. Scary just called me in from recess. All the other children are still playing out there. He said for me to write in my journal for a minute and he will be with me soon. I keep peeking at him from behind these pages. He is printing sentences on the board. It is extra work for me, I think. I do not actually approve of this. From Junie B, first grader. Mr. Scary put down his chalk. You can stop peeking at me now, Junie B, he said. I looked at him real surprised, because that guy has eyes in the back of his hair, apparently. He turned around and smiled. Do you see these 3 sentences that I just wrote up here? Yes, I said, I see them. Excellent, said Mr. Scary. Could you stand up and try reading them from back there, please? Just then, my heart got pumpy and pounding inside. 'Cause I'm not good at reading from the board, that's why. I kept on sitting there. Please, said Mr. Scary, just give it a try, okay? Finally, I stood up and I squinted at the sentences. I read real slow. Bob is a bug bag, I read. I did a teensy frown at that news. Really, I said, Bob is a bug bag? Mr. Scary pointed to sentence number 2. Try this one, he said. I squinted some more. I like my hog. Spit, I read again. I looked at my teacher very curious. These sentences are oddballs, aren't they? I said. Mr. Scary pointed at the last one. Just one more to go, he said. This time I stretched my neck and I strained my eyes. Jack is going to, I scrunched my eyes even smaller. To jail, I read? I did a gasp. Really? No fooling? Jack who? Mr. Scary came back to my seat. He took my hand and walked me closer to the board. Could you try reading them again from here, Junie B, he said. I made my voice real whiny. But I don't want to read them again, Mr. Scary, I told him. I already know what they are, what they say. Just one more time, he said. And so finally, I did a big breath and I read the sentences all in a row. Bob is a big boy. I like my dog, Spot. Jack is going to Jill's. I covered my mouth, very surprised. Hey, what do you know? He's going to Jill's, Mr. Scary, I said. Whew, that's a relief, right? Mr. Scary laughed. Right, he said. After that, I headed for the door. Okie dokie, well, I guess I'm going to get back to recess now, I said. See ya. I waited for him to answer. He did not say see ya. I turned around. See ya, I said a little bit softer. But Mr. Scary just shook his head no. 'Cause too bad for me. He had other plans. Mr. Scary took my hand. He walked out of room 1 and down the hall. "You and I are going to visit Mrs. Weller, Junie B," he said. "You remember Mrs. Weller from last year, don't you?" I shook my head no, because that name did not ring a bell. "Mostly I would just like to remember recess," I said. Mr. Scary patted my shoulder. "Mrs. Weller is a lovely person," he said. "Recess is a lovely person, too," I said. "Mrs. Weller is the school nurse," he said. I quick stopped walking. Because the school nurse is where you go when you are sick or tired, and I was totally fine. "But I am in good shape," I said. "See me? I don't even need a Band-Aid." Mr. Scary smiled. He pulled me along again. "Of course you're in good shape, Junie. Junie B. But Mrs. Weller does lots of nice things besides giving out Band-Aids." Just then he walked into Mrs. Weller's office, and guess what? I remembered her perfectly well. I just never knew she had a name before. "Why, Junie B. Jones," she said, "what a nice surprise to see you again." "It's a surprise to see you too," I said, "because I'm not even sick or tired. Plus also, I'm supposed to be on the playground right now." Mrs. Weller laughed out loud. "Only I don't actually know why." After that, she and Mr. Scary whispered real quiet to each other. Then finally, Mr. Scary patted my shoulder. "I'm going to leave you with Mrs. Weller for a while, Junie B," he said. "The two of you are going to play a game with her eye chart, okay?" All of a sudden, my stomach felt kind of jumpy, because playing a game with the nurse did not sound fun. "No," I said inside my head, "not okay." Mr. Scary waved. "See ya," he said. I watched him go. I did not say, "See you back."